Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to do a deep dive in what is the differentiator between cold email being successful for your business and cold email failing for your business. There's actually only one differentiator, and that is called personalization. Cold email outreach is very tough, but personalization is the one thing that can change your cold emails from being ignored to actually landing your clients. This video will cover why personalization matters, proven strategies for effective personalization, and how to scale personalization using automation tools. Before I dive into the presentation that I've made for you guys, a quick introduction about myself. Hi, I'm Clarence. I help B2B businesses generate high quality leads and scale sales with end-to-end AI powered systems. The past few months, I've been perfecting the workflows and been battle testing them with my clients. And here today, I'm giving it all away to you. If you want to skip the hassle of recreating everything, going through trials and tribulations yourself, there is a link in the description below to book a discovery call. I deliver done for you systems to personalize outreach for your B2B business, fill your pipeline, and scale faster. If you're interested, you can book a free discovery call and we can see if there's a fit. Now that is out of the way, let's dive into this amazing presentation I made for you guys. So first of all, I'm going to talk about why personalization matters in cold outreach. Well, the problem is very simple. As I already said, generic emails don't get you anywhere. Most cold emails fail because they look like spam, generic, irrelevant, and impersonal. Prospects can immediately tell when an email is mass sent. Just imagine for yourself. I mean, if you're running a business, you get cold emails all the time. Most of them, I well, the ones that I get, most of them are mass generated without a touch of personalization. Sometimes there is a first name. My first name is in there, maybe in a subject line or maybe as hi Clarence on top of the body of the email. But mostly it's just nothing. This is actually an example that right here is an example that I got in my inbox a few weeks ago. Hi, we provide marketing solutions for companies like yours. Are you interested in learning more? I mean, companies like mine, am I interested in learning more? Marketing solutions, this is so fake. I no clue what to even say about this email. But there is someone somewhere just bulk sending them to every email they can find on the internet, and it's just a waste of time. I mean, I would be amazed if you guys watching this video would actually read this email and be like, ah, that sounds like the perfect fit for my company. One below, because of course, if you bash something, you have to come up with another example, a good one, actually. So I wrote this one. This is one that I used for a business. It's actually very personalized. So this is a template which only worked with some results. To give you some context, I was doing lead enrichment. So I was scraping their company LinkedIn profile and I was scraping their business website. And then I let ChatGPT write me a summary and answer some questions that I wrote down in the prompt. And based on those questions, the email was sent down like a certain subflow, which had its own template. And this one was actually if there was something on the company LinkedIn profile, which said something about expanding into a new market or opening an office in another country, another state, whatever. So I'll read it for you guys. Hi, first name. No, the first name is you always get the first name whenever you scrape a lead. I mean, I made a video about scraping leads using Apollo. You always get a first name, and it's the easiest way of giving a personal touch to a cold outreach email. I noticed your company recently expanded into the marketless region. And a lot of companies that I was in my lead list that I created, there were a lot of companies who were expanding into the UK because at that time I was targeting UK companies. So this would then say into the UK. That's a huge opportunity, but I imagine it comes with new challenges around scaling your outreach. I mean, of course, it comes with new challenges. You're going abroad. I specialize in helping companies like yours generate high quality leads in emerging markets, and I'd love to show you. And then below here was something about the achievements that I've had over the past year that I've helped other businesses like with brand names to give myself some authority in this space. And then I always close it off with, if this sounds interesting to you, let's schedule a call next week. Or do you have time next week to see if I can get the same results or better for your company? A quick, simple CTA at the end. So I wrote it down as follow. Personalized emails show you've done your research, that you care about the recipient's business, and that you're offering something relevant. I mean, what I just said already is, let's say you let ChatGPT determine the type of company they're in, the type of business they're in. That would immediately already solve this generic email right here, because then instead of saying companies like yours, it would be, "Hi, we provide market solutions for B2B lead generation agencies like yours. Are you interested in learning more?" I mean, that small distinction, and that could be automated. I'll go over that in a second. That could be automated. That makes such a big difference already. And if you don't believe me on what I'm saying, I actually did some digging online to actually find a credible source. And that stated that emails with personalized subject lines are 26% more likely to be opened, and personalized emails have a 3 to 5% times high response rate compared to generic ones. So I send out well over 500,000 emails a month, and I've tested everything. I mean, honestly, I actually also tested generic emails just to actually find out if there is a difference. And in my personal experience, the difference is much bigger than 3 to 5 times higher response rates. On generic, like non-personalized emails, well, of course, I always use the first name, but non-business, with not no personalization about their actual business, I honestly get no responses other than saying, "Please unsubscribe or remove me from your list." And if you do personalization right, it can be a killer way of getting new leads for your business. Let me tell you. And why it works? Well, why it works, it's simple. I mean, we as people, whenever you read your name and you hear your name, your interest is immediately piqued. I mean, we're hardwired to pay attention to what feels personal, like the name, the company, or their goals. And that is exactly what personalization works so well. If I read a book and it says Clarence somewhere, I mean, a slight smile comes on my face, and I'm more interested in reading whatever comes after. So I already went over it somewhat, how you can use personalization in the body of the email. I mean, you can also use it in the subject line. I would very much advise to use it in the subject line, but I think that's much more straightforward. To give you guys some examples of cold email subject lines that I use is first name, comma, quick question, or quick thoughts for company name. I would advise use the first name. I think that works better. For me, that works better. Do your own tests. But when it comes to the body of the email, there are three ways that I would suggest you personalize it and try it out. All of these can be very easily automated by using a automation workflow and using a LLM to do the enrichment. So first of all would be to research recent company activity. LinkedIn is a goldmine for this. Almost every bigger-ish business is active on LinkedIn. Well, at least they post their achievements because that's the place to post it. So you can look at recent company updates. Like I would just suggest looking at the company profile posts. There might be something about new product launches, hiring announcements. Other things that might be relevant are funding rounds. Funding rounds are an amazing opportunity for you to step in because that just means they received a big bag of money and they're looking to spend it to expand their business. Well, the perfect opportunity for you to dive right in and sell them your services. And then just mention these. I would mention them in the beginning of the email, in the opening line, to show relevance. You have to keep in mind is like when you think about your own inbox, the only thing you see is like the subject line of the email in bold, and then I don't remember the number of characters, but like maybe let's say 40 characters after. So it would be first name, comma, and then maybe half a sentence to a sentence if you keep the word count low. If that's personal, if that's something relevant, like a compliment about them or about their business, or actually something that is valuable to read, they're 100 times more likely to click on the email, and they're much more enticed to actually read what you have to say, and that will get you replies. And that's the thing you're after. So, secondly, it's also looking at their LinkedIn posts. It's identifying pain points or goals. If there are multiple posts about hiring for marketing people or hiring for salespeople, and you run a SMMA, so social media marketing agency, or a lead generation agency like I do, This is also something very good to mention, because then instead of just targeting very broadly, you know you're targeting people with a specific pain point you can solve for them. Also, again, they're 10 times more likely to have their ears open when you offer them the solution that you can offer them, because you already know that they're looking for something like that. And you can just mention that. I would mention it again at the beginning. I would say I would always usually use all the personalization at the top. That's to get them to read the message, and then everything else can be a template. With some slide, I would use some variables. So once again, there's other videos on my channel about this, but how you can use AI to enrich a lead. But I will give you some quick context right here, right now, since we're talking about it anyway. Let's say you scrape their LinkedIn company profile and you scrape their website, and then you gather all the HTML, filter out the HTML so the only plain text remains, and you pass that through a LLM. I usually use ChatGPT for business analytics, and you just prompt some questions you want to be answered, and it goes through all the data and answers those questions, like the type of company, the main product and services, their ICP, things like that. And you can use those variables within the body of the email, bringing you back like the thing I already talked about twice. But so in this case, here would be within brackets, for example, the type of company. Just how it immediately looks like you've done your research. You actually know what their company is about. That you actually know the person you're reaching out to. It's not automated, because that's the beauty of this thing. AI and automation have gotten to a level. I mean, you still have to give them the right guidelines, but it has gotten to a level where you can let it all be done for you instead of spending hours researching and enriching everything yourself and coming up with the perfect project opening line. You can just do this and send it to 1,000 people a week, or a day, excuse me, thousands of people a week. And then lastly, a very quick one. Let's say there's not much on their company LinkedIn profile post, and also not much on their website. You can just include a compliment or an insight, like start your email with something positive, like I loved your recent webinar, or XYZ. This is usually something it could also be on their LinkedIn company profile. But this is something I think most people would personally rather post on their personal LinkedIn profile. Let's say they just had an article published, or they spoke on a podcast, or they hosted a webinar, or they were at a conference, or something like that. You can just give a personal compliment. People like to be complimented. Everyone has an ego that they like to be lifted up a bit. So that is a very strong way of just getting your foot in the door, getting them to read your email, getting them to read your offer, and getting you one step closer to landing a new client. Even though I am hyping personalization up to the next level, there is something to be wary of, and that something is over personalization. I, as a business owner, get a lot of cold emails, some of them much worse than others. A few of them good, but a lot of them not so good. And the things that kind of irks me the most are the ones which are over personalized in a weird way, like saying something about like the university I went to, something not relevant to my business or to the service they're offering at all. Just something like, congratulations on getting your bachelor's degree in 2019, something like that. Believe me, I don't know why, but believe me, I've come across it multiple times already. It's just something, don't use it. Like, don't go too far of fake details. That's what I wrote down here. Like, authenticity is key. Focus on one or two meaningful personal touches. Same thing as I said before. Keep you may usually use the personalization up top, and for the rest in the email template only use variables like that fit within sentences. Don't go overboard. Don't let AI write the entire email, because it isn't capable of doing that. It doesn't matter how good your prompt is. Just make it fill in small like sentences, or maybe like words, whatever. That'll do the trick. Much more, much better than letting AI do everything. The only downside, well, yeah, the only downside of personalization and lead enrichment, because you need to enrich the lead before you can have any personalization, is that it takes a shitload of time. Excuse me for cursing, it takes a lot of time. Luckily, and that's literally all that my channel is really about, is that I sell and implement automated sales systems. And part of these automations is that you can now use AI to enrich the lead, probably just as good as I would do it myself, maybe even better. That makes it a lot more scalable and a lot easier. Imagine scrolling through someone's website, scrolling through someone's company LinkedIn page or their personal LinkedIn profile, writing some bullet points down. It can easily take you somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. With AI, it takes you no more than 30 seconds, and the beauty of it, you can do multiple people at the same time. So it is no match for humans, and especially if you know how to use the AI instead and control it instead of letting it do something on its own and let it go rogue. If this is your first time being on my channel, you probably aren't aware, but like all my previous videos are about how to set up automated workflows that do exactly this: enrich the lead, write personalizations based on the data you scrape from their website or whatever, and then use it to implement in email templates. I won't go over it too much in this one. Look at previous videos, and literally all my future videos will be mostly about how you can use it for yourself and how you can replicate those. I use N8N. Most people will be more familiar with Make, but I think N8N has a lot more capabilities and is much more scalable and looks a lot nicer actually. To give you guys some context of what one of those automations would look like, I wrote down an example workflow. This is very quick, like very short, concise overview. This would be a lot more in depth if you actually build it out, but this is just to give you an idea. So the first step would be to scrape LinkedIn posts using N8N. Well, you would scrape them using an HTTP request to get all the HTML from the LinkedIn company website, and then filter that to only leave the text, and then put that through an LLM with a adequate prompt. But you get the idea. And then analyze the post for key insights like pain points, recent updates about the business, whatever. And then the third step would be to use ChatGPT. I usually use Claude for copywriting. I just think Claude does a much better job at copywriting, but I use ChatGPT for analytics. So just imagine instead of ChatGPT, it's say Claude. So use Claude to generate a personalized email opener. Personalized email openers based on company LinkedIn posts could be like, congratulations on hiring John Doe, your new COO. Good to see you expand your team, or amazing hire, something like that. Or another example, because this is something a lot of companies post about, is if they've just had a funding round and they received 12 million in funding, you could congratulate them on that. Just you have it as a small email opener. And then lastly is send the automated emails through your email platform. I always talk about Instantly, that's the one I use, but you can use whatever, Smartly, you name it. And then this entire workflow would be part of an automation. So all of this would be automated. All of these steps would be done in one go after one press of a button. I hope it sparked your interest if it wasn't already, and makes you go look at some previous videos. The last thing I wrote down is it's very important, and I also already talked about this, but it's very important to maintain human-like quality. Like, if you let the AI run wild and let it write entire emails, 99.9% of them won't be any good. And the one reading it will know it right away that this was not written by a human, because it just starts thinking of crazy things. The structure of the email makes no sense. It's very important that the personalization feels natural. So I would strongly, strongly, strongly advise to build a cold email template. I mean, if you're struggling, let me know in the comments below and I can make a video about that. But build a cold email template and just let the AI only fill in the blanks and maybe write you a short opener based on the data you scraped. I've tested everything. I spent a lot of time tweaking and working on prompts, but I haven't been able to get AI to write an entire email which is good on a consistent basis, which can be used at scale. So just use a template, save yourself a lot of headache, and you'll be fine. So just a small recap of the things I already talked about. Personalization is a non-negotiable. Personalization is the key differentiator when it comes to cold email outreach working or failing. I've heard a lot of people, they come to me after watching my videos, reach out to me on my socials, say, hey, I am using cold email for my business. It doesn't work at all. I've sent 5,000 emails, I've gotten 0 positive responses. And then I ask them to send me a copy or send me an example of the emails they send out. And 9 out of 10 times, no, let's say 8 out of 10 times, there's no personalization. Sometimes it's the offer or something else in the email, which we can then work out. But personalization is like, it's a must, especially nowadays. People are sending out cold emails has become really easy. People do it in bulk. And the thing that can make you stand out is to personalize it in just that way that makes people want to read the email and actually think that you've done your research into them or into their company. Some simple actions you can take to get started is to research your prospects. LinkedIn is your best friend. Well, I already talked about LinkedIn. I think that's probably the best place to get like the information from to use as background to come up with a personalization or let AI come up with personalizations. And as I said already, based on that, craft relevant and personalized openers and start using automation tools to save time. All of this can be automated. There's videos, I already said this a bunch of times, there's plenty of videos on my channel which shows a very simple workflow that you can replicate or copy yourself, maybe tweak a bit to personalize cold emails and start sending them out to leads. I mean, it has to be said that cold email outreach is the highest ROI sales channel there is. And with automation and AI, there's really no reason not for you to jump on it because it can be so effective and it's so massively scalable if you do it right. All that rests me to say is if you think it's too much of a hassle to replicate these systems and tweak them for yourself and you want to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache, I do deliver done for you systems. There is a link to a discovery call in the description below. If you're interested, reach out. We can have a quick chat if I can be of service to your business and if I can help you scale. I'm pretty sure I can, but I have to convince you in the call. That was it for today. If you watched all the way to the end, please remember or please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Bye.